Christmas dinner was supposed to be peaceful. Instead, it became the night my entire family tried to publicly destroy me. My mother slowly stood from her chair and tapped her wine glass with a fork. The room fell silent. More than 30 relatives turned toward her, smiling, expecting another holiday toast. She looked directly at me. "We've all talked about this," she announced. "Your sister deserves the wedding of her dreams. Since you're the only one who can afford it, you'll be paying the remaining $93,000. The smile disappeared from my face. I honestly thought she was joking. Then my father leaned forward. "If you refuse," he said loudly enough for everyone to hear, "don't bother calling us your parents anymore." A gasp spread around the room. My younger sister Ashley folded her arms and smirked. I knew she'd try to be selfish. Then my aunt added, "Family comes before money." Another cousin nodded dramatically. "She's always been the successful one. It's only fair." Every pair of eyes locked onto me. They wanted me cornered, humiliated, forced to surrender. My mother smiled with absolute confidence. "So," she stretched out the word, "are you writing the check or are you choosing money over your family?" I slowly placed my fork on my plate, looked around the room, memorized every face, every smug smile, every person convinced they already knew how this story would end. Then I calmly stood. "I'll give you my answer." I picked up my purse, and I promise none of you will forget it. I walked out while whispers erupted behind me. They thought I'd return begging for forgiveness. Instead, I disappeared. 3 months earlier, at 34, I owned a successful financial consulting firm that specialized in rescuing struggling businesses. Most people assumed my success came easily. It didn't. While Ashley was traveling, partying, and changing careers every year, I worked 80-hour weeks, slept in my office, and survived on coffee and determination. Every bonus became an investment. Every investment became another opportunity. Eventually, I built a company worth several $1,000,000. My parents never celebrated that. To them, my success simply meant I had become the family's emergency bank account. Ashley needed a new SUV? Help your sister. Ashley wanted a luxury apartment? You can afford it. Ashley maxed out another credit card? Families help each other. Every time I politely declined, my mother called me greedy. My father reminded me that Ashley was more emotional and needed support. Funny enough, nobody ever asked Ashley to support anyone else. The favoritism had existed since childhood. Ashley broke something. I apologized. Ashley skipped college classes. My parents blamed the professors. Ashley quit jobs after 2 weeks because her boss looked at her funny. Apparently every employer was the problem. Never Ashley. Still, I kept my distance. I rarely argued. Because arguing with people determined to misunderstand you is like shouting into a hurricane. Then Ashley got engaged. Her fiancé Dylan seemed pleasant enough. Until wedding planning started. Suddenly everything had to be extravagant. A castle venue, designer dresses, imported flowers. A celebrity wedding planner. A 7-country honeymoon. Every week the budget grew larger. Eventually they had spent nearly all their savings. Instead of reducing expenses, they looked at me. That was their first mistake. A month before Christmas, my mother invited me for coffee. She smiled sweetly. "We were thinking," whenever she started a sentence that way, I knew trouble was coming. "You've done so well. Imagine how beautiful it would be if you gave Ashley the wedding she's always dreamed about." "I already sent a generous gift." She frowned. "I mean the entire wedding. $93,000? To you that's nothing." "No." One simple word. She acted as though I'd slapped her. When I left the cafe, I noticed someone watching from across the street. An older gentleman in a charcoal coat. He gave me a subtle nod. I smiled back. Nobody noticed. Remember that detail. It matters later. Over the next several weeks, pressure intensified. Ashley cried. My parents guilt-tripped me. Relatives suddenly called just to remind me how important family was. Oddly, none of them offered their own money. Then Christmas arrived, and they staged the ambush. What they didn't know was that I had already discovered something much bigger than a wedding bill. Several months earlier, my company's legal department had been hired by one of Dylan's former business partners. Their company suspected massive financial fraud. Normally, I wouldn't involve myself directly. Until one name appeared inside the documents. My father. At first I assumed it had to be another man with the same name. It wasn't. According to bank transfers, shell companies, and signed authorizations, my father had quietly invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into Dylan's failed property venture. Money he claimed never existed. Money he insisted the family didn't have. Money my parents secretly lost gambling on Dylan's can't-miss investment. When the project collapsed, they needed someone else to rescue them. Me. Suddenly everything made sense. The expensive wedding wasn't about love. It was about covering financial disaster. But I stayed silent. My attorneys advised patience. Because there was something even more important. Evidence. Every phone call, every text, every threat, every demand. We documented everything. This is where everything changed. After Christmas, I received dozens of messages daily, then hundreds. Ashley sobbed through voicemail after voicemail. Mom claimed she couldn't sleep. Dad warned I'd regret destroying the family. Eventually, my phone logged over 120 calls every single day. I never answered. Instead, my lawyers archived every message. Some included direct admissions that they expected me to pay because of my income. Others revealed something even worse. My parents openly discussed lying to relatives about me refusing to help after promising money I had never offered. That became Exhibit A. Then came the point of no return. My parents organized another family meeting. This time nearly everyone attended. They expected an intervention. Instead, I arrived with my attorney, the same older gentleman from outside the cafe. He wasn't just any lawyer. He specialized in financial crime. Nobody recognized him until he introduced himself. The room went completely silent. My mother laughed nervously. "What is this supposed to be?" He calmly placed several thick folders onto the dining table. Evidence. Ashley rolled her eyes. Dad crossed his arms. "This is ridiculous." My attorney smiled. "Actually, this concerns undisclosed investment losses, fraudulent financial representations, attempted coercion, and recorded harassment." My father's face instantly lost color. Ashley looked confused. "What investment?" "Exactly." She hadn't known either. My attorney opened the first folder. Bank statements, wire transfers, contracts, signed guarantees. Every document projected onto the television screen. Gasps echoed around the room. An uncle literally dropped his coffee mug. My mother grabbed the edge of her chair. "No," Dad whispered. My attorney continued. "The $93,000 requested from my client wasn't intended solely for wedding expenses." He paused. "It was intended to replace money secretly lost through failed investments." The room exploded. Ashley spun toward our father. "You told me we were broke because of medical bills." Silence. Then another document appeared. Voice transcripts. My mother's recorded calls. "If she refuses, we'll tell everyone she's abandoning her family." Another. "We'll shame her until she gives in." Another. "She has plenty of money. She owes us." Nobody spoke. Nobody could. Every lie unraveled within minutes. That was only the beginning. Because my attorney wasn't finished. He announced that continued harassment had violated multiple civil statutes. The evidence supported claims for defamation, intentional emotional distress, and coercion. My parents suddenly begged to speak privately. "No," I answered calmly. "You wanted this public, so we'll finish it publicly." My father finally broke. He admitted everything. The investment, the losses, the manipulation. Every relative stared at him in disbelief. Ashley burst into tears. Not because she lost her dream wedding, because she realized she'd been used too. The revenge cascade happened faster than anyone expected. Relatives who had attacked me apologized one after another. Several demanded repayment for money my parents had borrowed over the years. Dylan called off the luxury wedding and insisted they start over with something affordable. Business associates who learned about my father's deception immediately ended partnerships with him. Multiple civil settlements followed. The non-stop phone calls stopped overnight. Months later, Ashley asked to meet me. For the first time in her life, she apologized. A real apology. She admitted she'd spent years believing everything our parents told her. "We aren't best friends, but we're rebuilding slowly." As for my parents, I chose peace over revenge. I accepted a legal settlement, then quietly walked away. No screaming, no celebration, just boundaries they could never cross again. Sometimes the greatest revenge isn't destroying someone's life, it's refusing to let them control yours ever again. The woman they thought they could shame into writing a check became the one person they could never manipulate again. And every time my phone stays silent now, it reminds me that peace is worth far more than $93,000. Have you ever been underestimated by someone who had no idea who they were dealing with? Tell me your story in the comments.